When it comes to big names in the business, one of the biggest is Hyatt, and I'm joined by Gus Vonderheide from Hyatt Corporation. Gus, welcome.
How are you, sir? Good, thank you.
Good to talk to you.
Good to be here.
We were talking about generally the business and how the industry is looking from your perspective in the near term. Let's say 2012 and perhaps 2013. What are you seeing?
You know, we're seeing a little bit of everything, but certainly in some geographic pockets and in some market segments, we're back and doing extremely well. As an industry, we kind of look at 2007 as the benchmark, so we compare ourselves to how things look compared to the best, if you will. And in some markets, it's back. In others, not so much. So we continue to find ways to spruce that up a little bit and get that jolt back in there. Perception is still playing a big role in the decision-making process of our customers. The government market comes to mind. I mean, they're watching every dollar. They want to make sure that every meeting they have is well justified. And so, you know, we got to work through that process as well. But we're optimistic, and we're cautiously optimistic. Transactions are back. People are signing contracts again, which I think is a first step of recovery. People realize the importance of meetings, and they're willing to sign the contracts. And so, you know, the size of those meetings are smaller, the duration of those meetings are shorter, but we're getting business, and that's very encouraging for us.
And signing contracts is a huge vote of trust, so there must be confidence, otherwise you don't. So.
Absolutely, and some of our bigger hotels are used to having business signed that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years out. That's not happening as much either right now. Right. Companies or organizations aren't quite sure that they're prepared to sign a contract that far out. So we're seeing a lot of short term these days. It's kind of the new norm, if you will. A lot of our business is coming in and checking out within 90 days. Which is amazing. That's kind of a record for us. I think, and as in the industry, I think it's pretty consistent.
And what pressure does that put on you as an organization, those shorter duration? I mean, is it...
Well, you better make good business decisions, because if, you know, we talk about the big business booking further out, we kind of call that setting the table. There's lots of business going in. Right. And then the appetizers kind of fill in around that. Right. But when the dinner's not being served 6 years ago.
You're living off appetizers.
We're living off appetizers. Right. Appetizers become the meal.
Right.
And you got to make sure that you're stacking that business very smartly, that their arrival departure patterns make more sense than ever, because you need to make sure these organizations and their check-in, check-outs and all that is just fitting well, so you can maximize your space.
And did you have to do, what did you do internally to adjust to this new reality for the moment?
I think a lot of it's training. We need to make darn sure that our salespeople and our CS people on property understand that concept. Right. And they got to be patient. We can't just jump at every little thing that comes in. We got to know that there is business still out there, and if we're doing right on behalf of marketing and promotions to our customers, then that business will still come. And when it does, we can fit it in the hotel as well.
Right. And I know you're very active in customer service. I think you have a customer advisory board that Hyatt sponsors.
Absolutely. I have the wonderful opportunity to host a customer advisory board on the group side, so our group customers. We meet a couple times a year, and it's made up of corporate association and even some third-party planners. And we sit down twice a year and really talk about the industry, talk about best practices. We pick their brains, being the experts out there, to say, what have you seen? What do you like? What's the next big wow in the hotel business that we can take those ideas and try to generate some action in our brand.
So it's like a panel that these folks participate
Absolutely.
in.
Well, we break them up into small groups and we give them a task to work on, and they come back and they share what they've come up with, and we've implemented a lot of their ideas. It's
and I know this is proprietary information, but are there one or two things or one thing you might share that you've picked up from these folks? I mean, in terms of, because they're under their own pressure, I'm assuming, Gus, in terms of they got to make the case to their management about the meeting. And
absolutely.
And
you know, in today's environment, when we're being asked to respond to customers within minutes, right. I mean, it used to be a 24-hour response time. I say today it's 2 to 4 hours, and that's probably too long. We need to make sure we're getting these responses in quickly. So we ask the customers, how do we best build a relationship with you when you want a response from us in 30 seconds or 5 minutes or whatever the number is? How can we build that relationship? And we've had customers very honest with us, and they say, you need to build that relationship with us before we come to you for the business. Right. Because therefore, you may not get the lead if we don't know you and we don't trust you. So we learned things like that. We learned just cultural concepts on how to be better partners and how to sell to them. And
very helpful.
Every customer is different, right? So we have to learn to make sure that we're adjusting our sales strategy to the different type of buyer.
And so many more complexities now than there would have been. You've been in the business for a while, not that many years ago, in terms of technology, bandwidth. I mean, decisions hotels are making that are far more complex.
Absolutely. You know, we're asking our owners to do a lot to keep their hotels at that level. Not just clean, not just renovated with nice new beds, but they need to be ready technology-wise. Someone wants to bring in 100 computers to this room. are we equipped to do that?
Right.
And that's a big investment from an owner's perspective, you know.
And
So we need to show an ROI on that for them.
As you say, you ask a lot of these owners to step up to the plate. You can see it, but you got to get an owner to
Absolutely.
say, I see it and I'll invest in it.
Right.
And it's the price of entry has changed. Table stakes are now far higher than they would have been not that long ago.
Very true.
We've had the pleasure to talk to a bunch of folks who have talked about the training that goes on for planners to try to upgrade the craft to professional status in terms of competency and training, and you can see the educational courses that happen. Do you feel that in terms of the quality of, this is going to be a self-serving question, but the quality of planners you deal with today?
At MPI?
Yeah.
Oh, I think, you know, whether it's a CMP certification or just other education, planners are much hungrier today for knowledge. And I love when a planner asks me to view my business from my perspective, from the hotel side, to really understand what's the process of checking a group in of 600 from changing a ballroom over in 30 minutes. They understand that concept and get it. It makes them a lot better at what they do, I think, too. So I encourage that kind of cross-training a lot. And I think it's important for us to understand their world. So it's wonderful to have these opportunities to network.
And the scope and impact of all this change is certainly broader for you in terms of things like digital signage and all of the things that go into putting a convention together and rigging, and then that's out. It's a lot of heavy-duty things going on.
And a lot of training on our side to make sure that we're up on all that technology and equipment and how you install and dismantle quickly and you know, react to the needs of the customer.
Not to throw you a curve here, but what do you think the next big thing is from the hotelier's perspective? Technology?
I think so. We've got a new product that we are rolling out here by the end of the year. It's a new group bill. And where that sounds pretty simplistic to most people that says, well, you just put your bill together and send it to me. If you were to poll the customers at this convention, they would tell you that not only do they get a mismatch of different types of bills from the industry, they get different ones from the same brand. And we are so proud that we've put together a very user-friendly, internet-based group bill that is all hyperlinked and it's going to be consistent. And we're thinking it's a game changer for us. We're very excited about it. We're rolling it out actually downstairs at our booth. We've got some examples of it today and tomorch. But it's a neat product.
It's got to be a godsend for a planner.
Well, we hope so, because again, we understand that there's not much of that kind of stuff going on out there. So we're hoping we can kind of jump on the board. So again, it's in some of our hotels now. It'll be brand wide in North America by the end of the year.
And it's interesting as you look at it, the granularity. It isn't just the hoopla of a group coming in. It's everything from check-in to receipting to selling to bundling, the whole thing.
That's right. That's right. You know, we've taken our front desks, which is a simple concept, right, of checking people in.
Right.
Every property that's gone through any kind of renovation or new builds in the last few years, we've building those in pods. And we've done it for one simple reason. We want the desk clerk to come out into the lobby and pull the customer back in and have a one-on-one interaction rather than a very stiff, with a bulletproof glass in front of them, right?
That's
so
right.
It's been a really neat concept, and it's softened that engagement, and it's really made them much better. It's the
details. The devil's in the details.
That's right.
Gus, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Just remember the words group build. You heard it here first.
There you go.
Thanks, Gus.